There are several main symbols used when writing out Roman numerals, and they can be combined to create a variety of numbers. However, as the size of numbers increase, this system can become tedious to the point where it simply becomes unworkable. It is perhaps not surprising that Arabic numerals eventually replace the Roman ones, because those have a place value system, where the inclusion of the number 0 enables the same digits to be expressed to increasing powers of 10. Roman numerals didn't do this, and the Romans appear to have lacked the number 0, which led to a system whose writing was not necessarily uniform, and thus led to a general lack of consistency. Due to its usage in both national and international law, a standardization of Roman numerals has been created, but in antiquity and the medieval period, this was not necessarily the case, so we find the number 4, for instance, written in two different ways. So, with a number system which varied depending on the time and the place, how did Romans do something like write fractions? The Roman economy was a monetized one, and to a very large degree it was based around markets, and it featured banks, systems of contract law, and systems of credit and loans. So the ability to do complex math and to utilize fractions seems at first glance like something that should have been required. We utilize these things in our own market economy, after all. So, how did Roman numerals handle this task? Well, the Romans actually did not do this because that was not the purpose of the numerals. They were for recording numbers and fixed sums, not necessarily doing arithmetic. This is not to say that you can't do basic addition and subtraction, as well as multiplication and division with Roman numerals. You can, and they do occasionally show up in the sources, but that was not their primary function. Those in the ancient world doing high-level theoretical math, much like advanced mathematics today, tended to utilize variables as ways to develop mathematical equations and to express concepts. The Pythagorean theorem, for example, utilizes known numbers to express itself. Applied mathematics in the ancient world was based around utilizing the abacus and pebbles with which to count, as well as multiplication tables which appear to have been memorized. This is where we come to the question of fractions. The Roman mathematical world made use of two systems of numbers, base 10 and base 12, although the Babylonian base 60 also shows up in some texts. Romans used the base 12 system for fractions, where a whole fraction was represented by the symbol as, which comes from the as or the asarius, a Roman copper coin of the Republican and the Imperial periods, and 1/2 was written with the letter S. Amounts corresponding to 1/12 to 5/12 were written using dots to express the numerator. These were not necessarily linear in their expression, but usually we find them written in the same way as we use them on dice today. The remaining fractions combined an S and a dot, but because the Romans employed both base 10 and base 12 systems, they were often converting between the two when it came to fractions. As might be suggested from the term used for a whole fraction, the base 12 system was strongly tied to the Roman systems of weights, measures, and currency. Indeed, actual terms used for each of these fractions refers to different amounts of currency, and the fractions were often represented on lower value coins to denote how close they were to an asarius. So, there you have it. Roman fractions.